Hello, this is Brennan Wilmington from the Left Turn Network, and welcome to the 8th race of season number 3 of the Lumen Stock Car Invitational. We're heading out to Newton, Iowa, and the Iowa Speedway here today, a 7/8 of a mile oval. We're going to be running 92 laps here today. This is going to be a very fun race. This is the first time that the LSCI has ever run at Iowa, but we did run an amateur race yesterday that ended with some crazy tire strategy. James Harvin and Haley Taps, the two Appalachia cars, ended up lapping the field because they only made one pit stop. But we aren't probably not going to see that again here because the lap distance is different. That race was 65 laps. The pit window is about 30 to 33 laps, so you can kind of see what happened there. But we won't be seeing that in this race. It should be a two-stop race. I am joined alongside Echo Evans Ross for the second time this season. We last saw her at South Boston, and this is the second short track of the season, technically, with an asterisk. So, Echo, do you think some of the things that we saw in South Boston could potentially translate to this one, or is this like a completely different ballpark?
It's more like Rockingham, honestly. I guess you could. I guess it's kind of more like a middle of the pack, but this is a much longer track. I think it's 7/8 of a mile as opposed to South Boston, which is only about 2/5 of a mile. I would call this more like Rockingham, just because you can go so far. You can go multi-groove through the corners. The straightaways are much longer. This track literally bills itself as the short track that thinks it's a speedway. So this is going to be much more like a mile and a half or like Rockingham, I would say.
Definitely, and tire wear is going to play a factor in this race. It's actually very extreme at this racetrack. And again, two pit stops should break this race evenly into thirds, unless we get some yellows which can mess with it. But we haven't had any caution since race number 4 this season. That doesn't mean the trend is going to continue today. In fact, I kind of doubt it. I'm almost expecting a caution at some point, judging from some of the test races I've gotten. But not like I'm not expecting anything like South Boston happen either. So a happy middle ground, I guess. Anyway, starting lineup. Andrew Kreider is starting on the pole here today. We know he was fast at Rockingham before he blew up about halfway through the race. So hopefully that doesn't happen to him again, and he can actually get the finish that he deserves. And we know he also finished second and led the most laps at Rockingham last year. And like Echo said, it's a similar track to this one. So I guess if you think about it, it's not surprising to see the 70 up here. Anyway, on his outside is the 16 of Corbin Taps, who's been on a hot streak as of late. The last couple of races, he's been running pretty well. Row 2, it's your points leader, the 8 car of Darren Walker. And that is a scary sight for the field to see. The points leader, who is up by, I believe, 22 points. Yeah, 22 points up on his teammate, Charlie McCarron, starting this high up in the field. And on his outside, it's another one of the top 5 in points. It's the 41 of Karina Willis-Callaway. Row number 3, we have Michael Harvin in the 55 in the Sprite car. This is the only new paint scheme in the race today. And then it's the 18 car of Zach Dearman, who is also in the top 5 in points. Then behind them, it's Ryan Silva with a top 10 qualifying run, and he has had a dismal season to say the least. Hopefully he can try and turn it around here today. And the 01 car of George Bryan on his outside, he finished second at Las Vegas. JB Chanot in the 29 and the 65 of Jack Gino, your Las Vegas winner. So both Diamond Motorsports cars starting in the top 10. Again, good qualifying run for them. Joe Smith, 6th in points. He's starting just outside the top 10, alongside your defending champion, Jacob Lopez. Then it's Cooper Spurn, the 24 car, and the 77 of JT Boyd, your current Rookie of the Year leader by quite a bit. Fellow rookie Adrian Wheeler starts behind him, alongside last race's winner, Tim Berry. Then it's Kobe Hollenbeck in the 79. This is his home track. He's from Iowa. So, definitely looking to try and turn around his disappointing start to the season at the home track. Really, he's only had one good run all year, and it was on a track we kind of expect him to run good at, the road course at Willow Springs. He is 31st in points right now. Definitely looking for a bounce back here. Kevin DuPont on his outside, the 98 car. Then it's the 57 of Shauna Everett and the 39 of Laken Herndon. Charlie McCarron in the 85, second in points right now. And the 32 of Tamarin Bellinger, driving for Pacific Racing this week. This is their first Cup start, but they've been making some noise down in the Amateur Series, and they've had some Cup starts before. Definitely a driver to watch if they can make their way up towards the front of the pack. Then it's Kate Summers in the number 92 and the 99 of Akia Tajima. Latanya Gray and Vinny Scholes starting behind them. Then it's the 25 of Luana Connie and the 6 car of Holly Martin. Montana Sherman and Tyler Landry, a couple of drivers we don't expect to see back here very much. They're back here in row number, I believe that's row number 15. Row 16 is the 36 of Ashley Blake and the 27 of Oscar Duvall. Then it's the 52 of Kaylee Maxwell, who is driving a Blake Everett Motorsports car this week. Last week, she was in a checkered flag racing car, so I guess kind of crossing enemy lines a little bit. You know, playing both sides, so she always comes out on top. This is her second Cup start. She did a pretty good job the first time in the 15. We'll see what she can do in the 52 this week. Alongside her is a checkered flag racing car. It is the 7 of Lori Jackson. And rounding out the field today is the number 45 of Rebecca Raymond. Well, we're about ready to get the engines fired. Okay. We're getting them fired now. Anyway, Echo, who do you think is going to win here today at Iowa?
Darren Walker. Easy pick, I know, but
straight to the point. Darren Walker.
I think I think the points leaders. And he won at Rockingham. He's really good at doing tire management. He almost won last time I was here at South Boston. I think he can get it done.
Darren Walker's been on a hot streak to start the season, that's for sure. Definitely, probably the guy to watch here. Andrew Kreider and Corbin Taps are going to lead them here to the green flag. We are racing for the first time at Iowa, and Darren Walker wasting no time to get to the lead. He makes a 3-wide move at turns 1 and 2, and already out in front. I was not expecting him to try that. But Darren Walker proving to people early why he is the points leader.
Well, if it was picking who would lead the first lap, I guess I was right. But we're going to have to wait another 91 to see if he can actually win the race.
Ryan Silva up to second. There's a guy you haven't seen up front very much. And, you know, Echo, last time you were in the booth, you did see him up front for a little bit. And then he had a bit of a moment. But he is back up to second here. Off to a good start. Michael Harvin in third. A bit weird seeing him in a green car, even though, you know, he drove a Subway car in season 1. But I'm so used to the Coca-Cola car at this point. It's weird seeing him in any other color. But Darren Walker out front. It's a Honda 1-2, and we've been saying all year how strong the Hondas are. Looking good early in the race. Ryan Silva, he does not want to sit behind the 8 of Darren Walker, though. He wants to get the lead. He just wants something good.
Harvin might try and get to him first. He knew. I think Silva wanted to try and go for it aggressively, but Harvin's being a little more aggressive right now.
Michael Harvin looking for second, and he's going to get it over Ryan Silva. Joe Smith's going to sneak in for third. And now
looking for the lead.
Peeking on the 8 of Darren Walker. And he's going to have the inside lane on the exit of 2. He blocks the 88 of Joe Smith. The 8's going to try and get a run off the outside. And it looks like he's going to get that going unless the 55 sends it. He couldn't quite get under there. Walker's going to maintain the lead. Here's Kobe Hollenbeck. We mentioned him at the start of the race. An Iowa native trying to turn his season around at his home track, and he's already up to 4th, so good run already for the 79 car.
Walker did a good job holding the outside. I don't know how well the outside's going to hold up, but Walker did a pretty good job holding off 55 up there. I don't know if he's faster than the 55.
Now, generally, this track is a one-groove racetrack. Sometimes you can make the outside work a little bit more, but you will definitely want to be on the inside in the corners if you want to pass. But Walker, he's led every lap so far after that incredible jump on the restart, but he is under heavy pressure from Michael Harvin in the 55 and the 58 car of Ryan Silva. Going back towards the back half of the top 10, we have a bunch of cars who started towards the back of the field, like Latanya Gray and Kate Summers, who have just shown up. And that's an incredible drive for those cars so far in this race. Summers making a big slide
Woo!
job move on the 29. That's going to knock them both out of the groove. And Latanya Gray says, thanks for the 2 free spots. And there she goes by them both up into the 8th position. Oh,
You really want to be careful when you're making passes through the corners here, just because that can happen and you can slide up a little too far. There's a caution out. You can slide up a little too far and take a guy out.
here comes Harbin
55.
on the inside of Walker. Caution is out. Oh, Gino is wrecked. JT Boyd is wrecked. Maxwell is wrecked. We've had a few cars get into it. And that cautionless streak that I mentioned at the start is finally over on lap number 10. And that one collected quite a few of them. We'll see what they do in terms of
The
pitting.
55 did beat the 8 to the pit to the line, but the 8
is
just,
still in
is
front.
the 8 is gonna beat him to the pit road, I guess.
Interesting situation right there. We'll have to look at that in the booth, but looks like everybody's going to come in and pit right now, and that would be a smart idea.
I'm not terribly surprised.
You definitely don't want to be off sequence of the tires here. Ashley Blake in the 36, Holly Martin in the 6. It just continues to get worse for her this season. And, you know, with all the things she said about trying to go to a contending team this year, leaving NH Motorsports to the 77, that 77 has outpaced her just about every week. It's kind of embarrassing, honestly. And now she's got rear end damage. Whether it was her fault or not, it's still been a rough season for her.
It still sucks, yeah.
Luana Connie involved in it. Blake with a gash on the right side. Walker will be the first one out of the pits, and then Harvin, Silva, Smith, and Hollenbeck. So basically the same way they came in. And JT Boyd with a lot of rear end damage, but he is actually going to gain quite a few spots, unless he was
28.
Oh no, he was in the pits already. Oh, 52 is out because of no fuel. So and also Jack Gino is out of the race as well. So there's a couple of retirees already. And the 70 is just getting a spot back. Okay, well, oh no, the leader! The
blown up for the
leader's
lead!
blown up! Oh my goodness, just as I was about to cut to the replay. I don't believe it. On lap 12.
Well, the only thing that could stop him apparently was his engine.
That is unbelievable. Darren Walker, the race leader, the points leader, has blown up early in the race, and all of a sudden, for everybody else, this championship lead is wide open. Looks like he will make it back around to the pits, but that's the black smoke of death. He's definitely done. That is unreal. Well, Michael Harbin is going to get the lead after all, but I don't think it was in the way that he expected. Oh man, you also got to worry about some of the other Hondas, like the 58 car and the 85 of Charlie McCarron, who's running just outside the top 10. So a dramatic plot twist to this race, as Darren Walker, under caution from the lead, is about to retire from the race. We'll get you back with the restart here real quick. We're going to make sure we get a replay of the crash before we get the restart. Well, here's what brought out the first caution of the day. JT Boyd cuts down on Ashley Blake on the front straightaway and basically turns himself. And he is going to take a hard hit into the inside wall and then slide back up the track into the 25 and the 65. Nothing that Luana Connie and Jack Gino could have done. Holly Martin, Kaylee Maxwell, and Ashley Blake caught up in that as well. Blake, I think, went up the track in front of the 6 and 52. So neither car really getting on the brakes after getting basically spun going into one. And it takes out quite a few cars in that accident. Watching from the exit of the pit lane, and you can kind of see how Ashley Blake came up in front of the pack and JT Boyd came up in front of the pack as they went into turn number 1. So a lot of cars taken out because of that, specifically the 65 of Jack Gino, and I believe the 52 of Kaylee Maxwell is also out of the race due to that accident. But we'll get you back with the restart Caution early in the race, and the caution-free streak that we were on is definitely over now. Welcome back here at Iowa. The pace car is going to pull off. We are going to have a restart on lap number 14. After the 8 car blew a piston from the lead under caution, you also saw the wreck that caused the caution to begin with that took out quite a few cars. But the green flag is in the air. Michael Harbin is now the leader. We have 1 car off the lead lap and apparently off the pace as well, JT Boyd in the 77. He might be a bit of a hazard, but we will get him a little bit of time to try and get up to speed. Oh my goodness, Silva almost turned the 55 car. Silva's shown to be very aggressive early in this race, and I mean, he kind of has to be, considering the position that he's in. He's got to get every spot that he can to try and salvage something out of this season. But Joe Smith is now under him, going for second, actually going for the lead.
Going for the lead.
Trying to make a move on Michael Harbin. We saw him do that a couple of times at Michigan, make those big moves to try and take the lead. Didn't quite get under Harbin, though. He's going to move into second, Hollenbeck to third, and then
he's going to have to worry.
Everett.
He's going to have to worry about Hollenbeck because, you know, the more these guys get into the run, the more those guys in third try to dive bomb for second and etc. It just, you're never safe with the lead here. And
Harbin slipped
again,
up.
Joe
Here
Smith.
comes And Joe Smith is going to get the lead. Hollenbeck trying to
Here
run
comes
the ball
Hollenbeck.
down. Hollenbeck is at least going to get second. And
Harbin might drop back to like...
We're not done with this lead battle yet. Here comes Kobe Hollenbeck, the hometown driver, trying to take the lead in front of the home fans, and he's going to do it.
Harbin's going to drop back to like 5th at best here, maybe 6th if Summers can get to him.
Yeah, that was not ideal there for the 55 car of Michael Harbin. Kobe
Here comes
Hollenbeck
Silva.
Out in front. He's got a challenge from Ryan Silva in the 58. And will Silva try and be aggressive again, try and boot him out of the way? He didn't have to. He got to the inside. And we might have another lead change if he can stay down there into turn number 1. He is there.
I think he's going to get it, yeah.
Silva's going to get it out of turn number 2. So 3 lead changes since that restart.
3 lead
after we
changes
didn't
in 3
have
laps.
any in the first run. Side by side for second. Joe Smith in the 88, Kobe Hollenbeck in the 79.
Harbin keeps dropping back.
Oh yeah, Harbin's
He's now losing to the 66. He's going to fall behind McCarron.
And he's got
might even lose to LaTanya Gray.
He's got a mirror full of LaTanya Gray, and that's something no driver wants to see. That's for sure. Oh boy. Back to the lead.
Smith back to the lead.
Missed it. Joe Smith back in front. Here comes Shauna Everett in the 57. She's going to go for it. She dives it into turn 1, and now Everett's in the lead.
That was a dive bomb.
They are swapping the lead back and forth like nuts.
Harbin finally got in line behind the 81, but he went from 1st to 9th. Well, he did get in line, and then the 16.
He got in line for about 5 seconds. But Everett is now in front. Kobe Hollenbeck is in second. Landry going for third now in the 66 car, underneath Joe Smith. Then it's Silva and Summers behind them, but Everett and Hollenbeck trying to pull away from these guys, but it's hard to get away from them at this racetrack. Hollenbeck's going to look to the inside of Everett, looking for another lead change. Side by side down the back straightaway. Everett has the edge on the outside, but Hollenbeck has the preferred lane and the help behind from kind of a pseudo-rival there, Tyler Landry. Basically only rivals because they are both rookies that outperformed in the first year, and they were competing for the championship for a while. So more of like a friendly rivalry there. And we saw these two run 1-2 at Willow Springs too. Hollenbeck's kind of had a mediocre season. Still better than what has happened to Hollenbeck, but Landry is definitely looking for some momentum here, and a win at Iowa would definitely help him. He's going to look to the inside of Hollenbeck for the lead, and he is going to get it.
Yeah, this has been real good racing for the lead here.
Silva to the inside.
Everett did a good job making the outside work. Like, it did a lot better. Not the best I've seen anybody make it work, but still, pretty decent job. Look at Rebecca Raymond, started last up into 8th place.
Yep. climb through the field here for Rebecca Raymond. That's not something she's oh, I was going to say that's not something she's accustomed to because she's been running in the back, but I remember the Darlington race where she had the fresher tires. She flew from 29th to 1st in about 7 laps, but no fresher tires here, just pure pace. Nice seeing Rebecca Raymond up here, especially with the struggling she's been. Here comes Charlie McCarron. She's going to send it 3 wide at turns 1 and 2. That's dangerous, but she made it work. So that's going to move her all the way up to 4th, and you know, with her teammate blowing up like that, this is definitely a great opportunity for McCarron to take the points lead. Trying to gain as many spots as she can on Walker, because Walker's going to finish in 33rd. So that's only 3 points for Darren Walker.
Would that be her first win as well, excluding non-points events?
It would if she won, but she doesn't even
If
have
she
to
wins,
win.
yeah.
I
know.
She could just use a good run. How about this? Corbin Taps. You know, I made a comment early in the race, or early in the season rather, that Corbin Taps in Cup didn't really look like the Corbin Taps in amateurs, but these last 3 weeks he's starting to prove me wrong. He just needed a bit of time to get accustomed to the higher horsepower, evidently, and now he's running in the 6th position in the 16 car, looking for his 3rd straight top 5. He's got his teammate up in front, but Ryan Silva still looking for a way around him. He's been on the back bumper of Landry for quite a few laps now, but he hasn't quite been able to. Well, I was going to go for it. I was going to say he hasn't quite been able to pull under him, but now he has. And now Ryan Silva is going to claim the lead once again in the number 58 car. It is worth noting we're about 10 laps away from the first pit cycle because they pitted under that caution on lap 10. So we should expect them to come in on around lap 40, 41, and then if it stays green, we might have a very late 2nd cycle of pit stops. We'll see how this plays out, especially if it stays green, and who has the best tire strategy, because that's the part of the race that's really intriguing to me, because there's all sorts of different tire strategies that these guys can pull off to try and get ahead. Do want to mention, oh, here comes McCarron for 3rd. She's going to try and bring Raymond with her, getting past the 88 of Joe Smith. I was going to say, I do want to mention, Michael Harvin is in 8th right now. He fell back on that restart, but he's kind of stabilized for now. He's got a pretty decent gap back to Karina Willis-Callaway. Adrian Wheeler is back here as well. He's been having a solid run today, looking for his first top 10 of the year in that number 28 car. And it's hard for me to go away from the lead for too long, because I feel like they're always like trying to pass each other for the lead, but they're pretty calm right now. Silva's got about a 0.2 of a second lead on Landry. These two looks like they might be closing in on the top 2, so we might see more swapping for positions from these 2 cars, McCarron and Raymond. And now here comes Taps to try and add to that for 5th.
No, I think those 2 are definitely closing, and I think they're the fastest cars, at least right now. I think as the laps run on, you're gonna see the tire strategy really start to. I think what's gonna be the most interesting thing about the tire strategy is that if we get to green flag stops, you'll see these guys all come in on different laps, and it'll all get shaken up, and the field will just kind of invert itself.
Yeah, the cars out in front, when they undercut, they are going to they're going to end up in front initially, but the cars that pit later are going to have fresher tires, and so the goal there is to try and pass all of those cars that are on the slightly older tires, taking advantage of that fresh rubber. So it's very fun to watch these tire strategy races play out, and that's why I like this track so much. It's doing what I was trying to get Gateway to do the last couple of years, but it wasn't quite working out. But I'm glad that I ended up settling on this racetrack. But things have calmed down a bit. Ryan Silva still pacing the field. Tyler Landry second.
Here comes Raymond for 3rd.
Raymond is going for 3rd on McCarron. And so there's another swap for position there. Then it's Smith, Taps, Everett, Harvin, Callaway, and Vinny Scholes rounding out the top 10. And around the middle of the pack, there's Hollenbeck. He fell way back. I didn't even realize. He's all the way back to 21st, and he was leading not too long ago. And things can change.
I wonder if that's What if that car is more of a short run car? I think Summers is kind of in the same boat. Summers was up in like close to the top 5 earlier, all the way back in the mid-20s now.
Yeah. Big skids for both of those drivers, and then of course you have a bunch of cars with damage. Tim Berry won last week, I guess 2 weeks ago, because we had a bit of an unscheduled off week. Berry's not having that great of a run after winning in Michigan, and Akiya Tajima, did something happen to him? Did he pit or something? No, he's just off the pace. Oh, he has front end damage. He might have been involved in the accident.
I think he was probably involved in that accident.
Yeah. And you can see how slow these guys are going through the middle of the corner now. They're running 23-second lap times as opposed to their fastest laps, which are 21 seconds. So that's 2 seconds of tire fall.
Oh yeah, there's tons of fall off. Here comes Silva.
Silva's going to try an undercut. Smith's going to come in with him. The 29,
so
27.
Is the 29, the 27. The 7's in. I think the 6 and the 11 will come in as well. Those guys are further back because they still have damage.
So those are your undercut drivers. They should come out ahead of these guys. Landry
These guys
and
are staying a bit long.
Are going to go a little bit longer. Taps will be the first one to pit for the second group, bringing in Everett and Harvin and Callaway in with. And a lot. Oh, look out!
Herndon's spinning.
Herndon is spinning out. He got wrecked by
Caution is
Boyd.
out.
And the caution is out in the middle of the pit cycle.
He might have been trying to pit.
He got into it with the 77 car. And
was already off the pace
car. The pace car is picking up. No, Silva's going
I think
by.
the 58's still racing back, so he should be picking up the 66.
Oscar Duval. Oh boy. Oscar Duval's the first one to slow down here. But these guys are tail end, I think. But there's Landry, who's going to come in and pit now. And oh boy, we might have to run a few extra caution laps or call an echo caution to wave some of these guys around if they are on the tail end of the lead lap. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Quite a few of these guys are going to be tail end, I think.
That's a very inconvenient time for the caution to come out. And that is going to shake up the field even more than the tire strategy would have on its own. Duval is 26th. And I think these cars are tailing the lead lap, but all things considered, I don't think there's that. Oh, that's a lot of lap down cars. So we'll figure all this out. We'll show you the replay of what happened, and then we'll get you back to the restart here at Iowa. Well, caution during the middle of the pit cycle, and once again, it's JT Boyd. Herndon gets spun by the 77, but I think Herndon checked up and Boyd wasn't ready for it. So I'm not going to fault Boyd for that one entirely, but either way, they collide, and this is going to be a very messy sequence of events with all these cars on the tail of the lead lap. Cautions during the pit cycle are never something that you want to see because it just throws everything out of whack. And yeah, well, we'll sort all this out, and pretty straightforward there. Actually, Lakin Herndon is gonna stay on the lead lap because he actually didn't come in and pit under green because, you know, he was on the track because he got wrecked. So he will actually stay in the top 10 because of this, but I don't imagine he's gonna stay up there very long. Welcome back here at Iowa. This is your leader right now. It's Tyler Landry in the 66, so we will be calling an echo caution, much like we did at South Boston, to let these tail end of the lead lap cars, led by Ryan Silva, get their laps back. So as soon as Herndon goes past the finish line, we will call the yellow. He's actually in 9th now, so he actually stayed on the lead lap despite getting spun out. Green flag is in the air, and now the caution will come back out. We'll see how many of these guys... Oh boy, they are getting very racy up at the front. We'll see how many of these guys get their lap back. If the lead changes during this, Landry is still your leader in the 66. He's going to try and put a couple of these cars a lap down.
32. The 32 is going to lose a lap here.
Oh, the 11 might lose a lap. Oh, that was close. Looks like he did.
Yeah, the 11 lost it. I think the 3 did stay. The 3 stayed ahead, though.
Yeah, the 3 will be on the lead lap. Everyone behind the 3 will be trapped a lap down. So that's bad
I don't know
news for
where the
Tim Berry.
66 is going.
He said I guess he thought these cars were taking too long. So and now they're gonna wave around him. Be careful not to sideswipe him, please. And so there you go. Oh my God, there you go. Oh,
Raymond
interesting
just
play
hit it
here.
again.
Rebecca Raymond pitting a second time. Same for Cooper Spur and Kobe Hollenbeck and Lake and Herndon. They
And
can afford.
Herndon.
They can't afford to do that. I think, or no, they're going to lose their spots. I think because of these cars waving around. But
well, if these cars that are waving around come in with them, they won't lose as many spots, which I think will probably happen. Some of these cars are probably going to pit with them just to try and get on a similar tire cycle.
So that is the 66 in first, and then it's McCarron second, Vinny Scholes third, then it's Dearman in fourth, and I think Cooper Spurt, yeah, Spurt pitted. So Jacob Lopez is actually in fifth right now. Here are the rest of these cars cycling out, and then we'll see how many cars are now on the lead lap. Got a few of these guys, we got to wait for them to pit. The 11's now coming in this time by, because he's a lap car. And the 88 and the 29 are the last of the drivers to come out of the pits here. And they will stay on the lead lap. So there's your echo caution. That's going to put all those guys that were trapped on the tail end of the lead lap back on the lead lap proper. And we will now have 23 cars, it appears, on the lead lap. So a lot of cars did still get trapped a lap down because of that. That's just because this is a pretty short racetrack, so you lose 2 laps in some situations when coming in and pitting during the green flag cycle, and something happened to the L1 car. If we find out what happened to him, we'll show a replay of it, but that was a bit of an incident there for George Bryan at some point, maybe during the echo caution, but we'll have to figure it out. But yeah, we'll get you back with the actual proper restart here in a couple of laps. Well, we found out what happened to George Bryan, and I was just joking about this race being South Boston too, guys. Bryan with the latest decision that I've ever seen to try and pit under caution, and he runs straight into the barrels. I don't know if he thought that little extra bit of track on the other side of the pit road was where he was supposed to be going, but he even missed his mark on that one. So I don't know what George Bryan was doing. Completely ended his race for no good reason. You know, no sponsors on that car. You'd think that you wouldn't be tearing up equipment like that, but you know, definitely a really boneheaded move there by George Bryan, and that's going to take him out of the race. Welcome back here at Iowa. We are on lap number 52, coming to lap number 53. Tyler Landry is still your leader. We have quite a few cars still a lap down on the inside, but most of those tail end cars are back on the lead lap. Pace car is in. George Bryan is out of the race for whatever happened to him under that echo caution, and we would have showed a replay for it right before this restart. But Landry and McCarron and Vinny Scholes are your top 3 right now. They're going to lead them to the green flag, and Holly Martin, the lapped car, is going to take them 3 wide. And that's her teammate that was leading on the outside lane. Here comes McCarron underneath. These lap cars are definitely going to influence this lead battle, and McCarron is going to go to the lead in the number 85 car. Landry will slip to second. Dearman's up to third. Vinny Scholes lost a bunch of spots on the outside. But it's Charlie McCarron who now finds herself in first after all that, and she's going to put herself in line with these lap cars. That's a big move right there, because now she's trying to separate herself from everybody else who's on the lead lap.
You know, that's a great move for the 85. That's really good that she's able to get down basically to the bottom here and get by these lap cars, because this is really going to help, especially with separation from second and third.
You can see these other cars are still struggling. Cooper Spur actually is up to second now. He was the next fastest to get down to the bottom, and Boy, a win for Cooper Spur at this stage of the season would
Landry,
really help him.
Landry should get third here. I think it'll be between Dearman and Hollenbeck for fourth.
But yeah, Cooper Spur has had a very bad season so far. A win here would definitely boost morale. But he's got to get past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lap cars to even have a shot at the 85 at this stage. So
and that's not counting anybody else that the 85 is going to put in between.
Yeah, there's still the 7 of Laurie Jackson up ahead that the 85 could potentially lap. So they got to get moving now if they want to try and catch that 85 car. That was an excellent. That's about as good of a restart as she could have gotten. Oh boy, the 25 and the 6. They got a bit dicey there. That could have been a wreck. And there's Tim Berry and Tyler Landry. That's 3 McPinkey cars all racing each other. Berry sideswipes the 99 and the 70 in the middle. Somehow they keep it straight. Oh my goodness. Playing around with these lap cars. Oh, and now he slides up the track into Tajima. Maybe he's not happy with Tajima for not giving him room. I'm not sure. Maybe we got a little bit of beef going on there. But, oh boy, that 11 car is all over the place right now. And that is a lap car. You definitely don't want to mess with that if you're any of the leaders. But look at the lead the 85 has gotten. 1.5 seconds. And there's not as many lap cars in between her and second place anymore, but there's a bigger gap now. And, oh, we got a wreck. It's the 18 of Silva in front of the field, or Dearman, rather.
Dearman.
And we got a huge crash.
Oh, that's going to be a big one.
Silva is
Silva's
involved in
in
the
it.
wreck.
Latanya's in it. I see Boyd is squiggling all over the place trying to avoid it.
Kate Summers. Oh my goodness. Our third caution of the day, and that's another big one. And that lead that McCarron had is now gone. So that's not what Charlie McCarron wanted to see. That is what Cooper Spur, Tyler Landry, and Andrew Kreider wanted to see. But that's another pileup on the front stretch after Zach Dearman got turned. Oh my goodness! What is going on? What are we doing here?
Oh!
Why are we running into each other under caution? Rebecca Raymond just ended her race because of that. McCarron is pitting.
McCarron's in pit road.
Looks like most of the leaders are.
I think everybody's going to come to pit road here, yeah.
We're probably going to be handing out some post-race penalties for that. That was uncalled for. But even more chaos happening here today at Iowa. And, I was, we even said at the start, this isn't going to be like South Boston. It's a completely different kind of racetrack. But, it's got some South Boston qualities to it, after all. I don't know if it's in the booth, Echo, but
I was about to say it's because I'm here that they're doing this.
I don't know. We did not have a test race like this, that's for sure. But anyway, is that Cooper Spur? No, McCarron is the first one out. Spur's second, and then it's Landry, Harvin, and Hollenbeck, and then we got all these lap cars that are going to pit now too. But the 32, I believe, will get the free pass. We didn't hand out free passes in the last couple because either there were no cars a lap down or we had just had an echo caution. So the 32 of Bellinger will get the lucky dog here on this restart. But another big crash, another big moment, and some extracurricular activity after to review. We got a lot to look at on the replays, so let's go and get to that. But here's what caused the big one on the front stretch. Once again, out of turns 3 and 4, Zach Dearman getting a bit over-ambitious with a 3-wide move here. Gets into Tajima and Berry, and he's going to slide up in front of the pack. Good wreck avoidance there by the 55. Good wreck avoidance by the 1 as well. Vinny Scholes actually gets a piece of that. Kate Summers gets a piece of it. Ryan Silva gets involved. LaTanya Gray. Rebecca Raymond. And several others pile in. Karina Willis-Callaway gets a piece of it. Adrian Wheeler also involved. So about 10 cars or so. And JT Boyd, he actually slowed down. He didn't get involved in this one, shockingly. But a lot of cars involved in this wreck and a lot of cars taken out of the race. I don't imagine Ryan Silva is going to be able to continue after that. Rebecca Raymond might be out of the race. Adrian Wheeler might be out of the race, and Kate Summers is definitely out of the race. That's a lot of damage on both the front and back. So another big pile up here. This one a bit larger than the last one, though, so a lot more victims in this one, for sure. You're riding on board with JB Chanel. Looks like she did get involved in that, but no really major damage on the 29 car, so she should be fine. So this is the replay of what Rebecca Raymond did, and she just piles into this group of cars that got slowed down because I think the 92 car of Kate Summers was having a problem because she slowed down pretty intensively into turn number 1 and kind of held up all the cars in front of her. But that's going to cause even more damage to the 28 of Adrian Wheeler and the 41 of Karina Willis-Callaway. That might actually take Karina out of the race. So that's definitely going to take Rebecca Raymond out of the race. She took herself out of it. So that's the second driver today that's just taken herself out of the race. And LaTanya Gray might be done too, so that could be number 3 because she also piled into it, but it's possible that she was just following the 45 and didn't know any better. I'm not sure. We'll assess the situation post-race. If there's any penalties, we'll update you about it in the community tab, but there will almost certainly be one for the 45, and we might be getting one for the 81 as well. Welcome back here to Iowa on lap number 64, coming to lap number 65. We're getting ready for another restart. Charlie McCarron in the lead. Ryan Silva, Kate Summers, Karina Willis-Callaway, LaTanya Gray, Rebecca Raymond, and Zach Dearman are now all out of the race. And if Raymond wasn't wrecked already, she would have been parked. But anyway, green flag is back in the air. Charlie McCarron, Cooper Spur, Tyler Landry, Michael Harvin, and Kobe Hollenbeck is your top 5. But we still have more lap cars to deal with. McCarron was able to deal with them pretty well last time, and it's looking good for her again as she managed to form a barricade there with the McPickey cars.
Yeah, and Spur really got tangled up. The 27 almost slides into the 85.
Oscar Duvall,
Landry,
making things
but
a bit tough.
It's helping that Landry is battling Spur behind.
Hollenbeck got down to the inside lane. He's trying to take the train up to second and maybe have a shot at the lead if that 85 can't get down to the inside. Barry is battling her. He's got damage on both sides of the car. But he's definitely... We've seen Barry race the leaders tough and almost cause wrecks earlier, so he's been very aggressive. The 85 can't quite get down to the inside. There's your 79 car. There's Montana Sherman, who I don't think we've mentioned all race long. He's creeped up into the 3rd position. Corbin Taps is in tow. Jacob Lopez is up here. A lot of Chevys up here. But they're all chasing the Honda of Charlie McCarron, and now she has to check up because the 11 is sliding up in front of her.
Ooh.
Oh, if she can clear Tajima
barely going to get down.
She will.
She's just barely going to get down there.
She will get in front of Tajima, so that's good news. But the 79 isn't that far behind, and that is Hollenbeck's teammate that is in front of him. So I imagine Tajima would definitely want to let him by. Oh boy, Corbin Taps, big move on the inside there. He's going to take over 3rd after a 3-wide move with the 3 and the lap car. And Tajima did let his teammate by, so now there's no lap cars and not much of a gap between the 85 and the 79. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But back in the Hornet's Nest, Corbin Taps and Montana Sherman trying to make some moves on the inside lane. And Taps going to try and get underneath Tajima, and Sherman's going to try and follow him. They want to get involved in this lead battle too. Hollenbeck is right there.
Remember mid-race when Hollenbeck had dropped back to about 21st? I'm back up to the field. Granted, it helps when you have a mid-pit cycle caution.
Oh my goodness, he got into her. Here we go.
Almost contact.
Side by side to the line. I think McCarron led that lap by 2/1000ths of a second. But Hollenbeck's going to have the preferred lane going into turn 2. McCarron holding strong on the outside, though. And that's how you know that car is set up very well. If she's able to hold it up like that for that long. But Hollenbeck will manage to get by her. But I'm sure McCarron's not done yet. She's got a very strong race car. We've got just about 20 laps to go here. They shouldn't have to pit again for the rest of the race. So if we stay green, then we won't have to worry about pit cycles. This is just a sprint to the finish. Corbin Taps, Montana Sherman, Cooper Spur Also waiting in the wings, McCarron is to the bumper of Kobe Hollenbeck, but Hollenbeck's able to accelerate away down the front stretch.
McCarron's not giving up.
She's definitely not giving up. She wants that first points-paying win that's been eluding her for so long. She's come so close so many times. And you know, she's won 2 exhibition events, but she still hasn't won a points race, and you know that's gnawing in the back of her head. Corbin Taps trying to become the second rookie to win this season. Gonna try and gain some ground in the Rookie of the Year race and not let JT Boyd run away. And especially since JT Boyd's having a pretty rough day, he could definitely gain on that Rookie of the Year race. But first, he's got to get by McCarron, but he wasn't able to do it. Good acceleration off the corner for McCarron, but also good acceleration for Hollenbeck. And Hollenbeck is trying to pull away from the 85 and the 16. Ooh, maybe a good corner here for McCarron, but something that is preventing Hollenbeck from completely running away is this 27 car of Oscar Duval, who is still in front of him, and so he is still in dirty air.
Yeah, and he's gonna need to do some work to get by that 27. That 27's not been playing particularly nice with the leaders. Oh, he might get through. Here comes the 16 as well. The 16's caught right up to these two. It wouldn't shock me if neither of these front two won this race.
Hollenbeck is looking on the 27 of Oscar Duval. He is running in 17th, last car on the lead lap. Trying to stay on the lead lap in the case of a caution. Here comes Corbin Taps, moving to second. His sister Haley finished second in the race yesterday, and now he's running second in the race today. Hollenbeck's going to boot the 27 up the track. A bit of a side swipe there off of turn 4. And Hollenbeck is going to dispatch of the lap car, but Taps is going to try and get underneath as well.
You want a sibling rivalry. I think Corbin wants to one-up Haley. There's only one spot better than second.
Yep, and it's first. Charlie McCarron looking to the inside of the 27 as well. She's trying not to lose out on this battle. And the 3 and 24 are also lurking. How about Kevin DuPont? I don't think that's another driver. I don't think we really mentioned him that much this race, but he snuck up here into the 6th spot in the Ecolab Honda. Jacob Lopez, he's had a pretty rough championship defense season so far, but he's running pretty good. Shauna Everett, Andrew Kreider, they've been top 10 most of the race. Vinny Scholes has been lurking around this spot for most of the race as well, so good runs for all of them here late in the going. And Taps, see if he can run down that 79 car. But time is ticking away. We've only got 12 laps to go this time by. Kobe Hollenbeck is up by almost half a second on Corbin Taps. Taps is really going to need to do some work if he wants to close in on that 79. McCarron sitting back in 3rd. Battle for 4th here. Cooper Spur and Montana Sherman side by side out of the corner. The 98 is getting held up a little bit by the 27. And Spur is going to move into the 4th position. And Hollenbeck seems to be pulling away from the 16 of Corbin Taps. So that is not what Taps wants to see. He needs to put down some faster lap times if he wants to catch him. Adrian Wheeler, the damaged 28 car, going into the pit lane. But these top 3 are still within a second of each other. That's still within striking distance. There is a bit of a gap between them, but you know, one slip up by Hollenbeck and the 16 will be right on his back bumper. And we kind of saw this situation at South Boston too, where we had this kind of racing for the lead going on at the end of the race, and we saw how that ended up playing out. So this
they're going to be on they're going to be on cords on these tires too. This is going to be the longest run on tires, and that's going to come to the end of this race. So it'll be tough for them to make that move, especially with how little meat you could say they have on the tires.
Taps is inching a little bit closer to the 79, but not enough to really make much of an impact on this battle. Looking ahead, JT Boyd is the next lap car. The 28 is pit looping. We're gonna DVP him. So Adrian Wheeler will be retired from the race due to pit looping. Taps loses about a second that next time by, so Taps, I think he might have used up his tires trying to get into second. So it will be difficult for him to close in on the 79 of Hollenbeck. And there you see Wheeler coming in and pulling it into the garage. Anyway, 6 laps to go, rather. 0.6 of a second for Kobe Hollenbeck. And he is looking for what could potentially be a season-saving win in front of the hometown crowd here at Iowa. Oh, Taps is coming into the pits.
Taps is coming in.
Oh my
goodness gracious. Is that a problem,
gracious.
or is that...
Is this scheduled?
Or are they short?
This is scheduled.
Oh my goodness. This is some of these guys might not be able to make it on tires.
Oh, that has thrown a wrench in everything. I just said at the start of the race, I don't expect this to be like the amateur race and have some guys end up pitting towards the end. But it looks like we might have that situation, although it looks like, oh, there we go.
Comes Joe Smith.
And, oh, both of those cars are damaged. I don't remember when Joe Smith got damaged. I guess he was involved in one of those big wrecks. But anyway, oh my goodness gracious. Now we have to worry about fuel mileage. I didn't even think fuel mileage was a possibility. I thought they were good. So here we go. Kobe Hollenbeck. Can he make it to the end on fuel? Charlie McCarron in second, Cooper Spur third, and then it's Sherman and DuPont rounding out the top 5. Not seeing too many cars come into the pits, so maybe it's just McCarron, a few cars.
Maybe McCarron is lagging back to try to save fuel here. Just let Hollenbeck burn your stuff up. Force him to have to pit here.
That could be the case, but Hollenbeck is not pitting. Coming to 2 laps to go for Kobe Hollenbeck, trying to look for his 3rd career win. And it's the guy in 31st in points running away from the driver in 2nd in points. And I'm not seeing many other takers in the pits, so maybe it was just a few cars that couldn't quite get their car full of fuel. Hollenbeck's going to take the white flag. 1 lap to go here at Iowa for Kobe Hollenbeck. In front of the hometown fans. It's been a rough start to the season for Kobe Hollenbeck after his 2nd place title run last year. But this will definitely help turn the season around. This could be the start of a turnaround. You never know. Here we go. Coming out of turn number 4, it's going to be Kobe Hollenbeck. 3rd career win, 1st of the season. And he is going to win the inaugural LSCI race at Iowa.
Great run for McCarron. 2nd in points coming in. P2's probably going to push her up to the lead with Walker's trouble.
Cooper Spur with a good run in 3rd. He desperately needed that. Montana Sherman with a good run in 4th. Kevin DuPont gets a top 5. Vinny Scholes finishes 7th. Lopez 6th. That's a much-needed good run for him as well. A lot of guys up here that definitely needed good runs. Oof, Corbin Taps. 15th, though. Honestly, considering he had to pit there at the very end, not terrible for him. And, it definitely could have been a whole lot worse. Only 14 cars on the lead lap here in this race. So he didn't end up losing a whole ton from that. Oh, JB Chanot apparently blew up at some point because a header went out on that car. So here you go. Here's your official race results. Kobe Hollenbeck gets his 1st win of the season. And we have now had 8 different winners in 8 races here today. And this is the 1st season where that has been the case, because back in season 1, Karina Willis-Callaway won race number 2 and race number 7. And in season number 2, Montana Sherman won race 3 and race 7. So 8 races, 8 different winners. And yeah, definitely a bizarre race here at Iowa. Definitely not the race I was expecting to get. 14 cars finishing on the lead lap, and you see all these retirements. There was all sorts of chaos in this race. Only 23 cars end up finishing the race. That might be the least out of any race this season. But the most significant of those drivers that did not finish the race, the 8 car Darren Walker, the runaway points leader, he's going to lose a ton of points. He's probably not going to be the points leader anymore because McCarron finished 2nd. Also, the 18 is Zach Dearman and the 41 of Karina Willis-Callaway. 5th and 4th in points failed to finish as well. And 81 of Latanya Gray also failed to finish. So bad day for Hudson Motorsports as both their cars end up wrecked today. Well, Echo, could you try and put into words what this race was like? And do want to point out, though, next week we are going to Circuit of the Americas, which is a very different kind of racetrack. So maybe you could give us a little bit of preview of that as well.
This was definitely one of the races of all time, if I had to say so myself. Pretty good race, I would say. A lot of battling up front. The tire strategy towards the end really made it a lot more interesting, I would say. And Coda's a wildly different racetrack. You got so many different types of corners there. Coda's all about finesse. Coda's all about trying to just keep your line. Just run solid and smooth at that track. It's going to be fun to watch.
That's another track where we're running our first race at. We didn't run at Coda in Season 1 or Season 2 either. So that's back-to-back inaugural races for their tracks here on the lead up to Daytona, which is race number 10. And we will have, at the very least, we will have the duels up on YouTube as well as the main feature. But that's going to be exciting for sure. Daytona Speed Week's always fun to look forward to. We do it a little bit differently than a lot of series. We have ours about race number 10 every year, but even so, it's still a spectacle for sure. But first we got to get through Coda as well. But there you go. Congratulations to Kobe Hollenbeck. I'm sure he's going to be really happy about this race win. I mentioned last year when he won in Indianapolis, that was probably the biggest win he was going to get. I bet you this one probably rivals that. You know, just always winning in front of the home fans it's a great experience, especially if it's the first time that the series has ever gone there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We will see you next week for that race at Coda. And on behalf of Echo and myself, this is Brendan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network, signing out.